Midnight Moon. Written by Suzana Thompson. Narrated by Sarah Sampino. Chapter 25. I loved Alaska. At least I did in the summer. I was there during the summer solstice, when Anchorage got 22 hours of sunlight on their longest day of the year. It was pretty amazing to be outside with the sun shining long past after it would have normally set. This was a new experience for Damien too, and I was there to share it with him. We also shared another new experience that summer. Well, it was new for me. In some ways, it was new for him too. He hadn't had sex since before he was turned into a werewolf, and of course, he hadn't had sex with me. Despite all my worries about his animalistic urges, he was as gentle as he possibly could be. It still hurt a lot more than Daphne had led me to believe, and Damien ended it before fully taking his own pleasure. He'd already made me climax beforehand, and I felt bad that he hadn't, but he assured me that it was okay. "It'll be better next time," he promised. Not only did it keep getting better as we explored each other's bodies, but I found that my desire for him had increased to the point where a single glance from him could arouse me. I'd never known that I had this wild side to me that would lead me to whisper in Damien's ear that I wanted him right now. It thrilled me to see his green eyes darken with desire in response. We'd hurry back to his apartment, even if it was the middle of the day, and yank off our clothes in our rush to touch fevered skin and join our bodies in heated urgency. I wondered how much of it was unrestrained passion and how much was desperate awareness that our time together was limited. We would have to part again for another year and say another reluctant goodbye. Damien was planning to return home next summer and spend some time with his family, so we wouldn't have the same freedom to be alone together that we had here. I was disappointed that I couldn't see the aurora borealis during the summer, but everything else about Alaska was better than I had imagined. While Damien had to work, I had a real vacation. I marveled at the magnificent scenery of the nearby mountains, forest, and lake. We went hiking, bike riding, kayaking, and even horseback riding. He refused to take me into the wilderness at night, however, even when he was in his wolf form. "You're too vulnerable as a human." I still hadn't told him about my wolf dreams. He hadn't brought up the topic of wanting me to become a werewolf, and I didn't want to bring it up myself. I'd have to make a final decision eventually, but I wasn't ready to do it this summer. Right now, I was just enjoying my time with Damien in this new place. I met some of his college friends who lived nearby, and even Nick Johansson, the man he'd saved in the wilderness. We were invited to Nick's wedding, because he declared that he probably wouldn't even be alive for it if it hadn't been for Damien. "All I did was make a phone call," Damien protested. "You were there for me when I needed help," Nick said. "That makes you a friend." "A friend in need is a friend indeed," echoed his fiancée, Charlene. They didn't know the extent of Damien's involvement, or mine, in saving Nick's life. I hadn't had any psychic episodes since, but I began to get a strangely unsettling but vague feeling at the end of my vacation. Since it was nothing specific, I wrote it off as the inevitable pangs of parting with someone you didn't want to leave, especially since Damien had the same uneasy feeling. "It's like something's wrong, but I don't know what it is," he told me worriedly. "Do you think that Nick and Charlene will be okay on their honeymoon?" "I think they'll be fine," I assured him. "I think maybe this has something to do with us." I played with one of the inexpensive earrings he'd bought me during the summer festival when we'd been out enjoying the surreal pleasure of the midnight sun. The design on them showed a wolf howling at a full moon, framed by the swirl of the northern lights. It had reminded me so much of my dreams that I'd immediately opened my purse to pay for the earrings, but Damien had pulled out his wallet first and purchased them for me. "Are you thinking about breaking up with me?" Damien asked. "No," I told him. "Do you want to break up with me?" "No," he insisted vehemently. "I was actually thinking of leaving Alaska and transferring to Bowling Green with you." "But you love it here," I exclaimed. His exact words had been, "I belong here." Those words had stayed with me ever since he'd spoken them to me over the phone months ago, because that certainty had continued to elude me. I hadn't yet found the place where I belonged. College felt like just passing time. I had settled on a business major for lack of any better ideas, but I wasn't excited about my future in that field. After completing my first year of college, I still had no particular interest in any specific career. My dad's demands had been appeased by me finally choosing a major, but I was troubled by my lack of direction in life. My blissful summer with Damien had been the exception to my disinterest in other areas of my life, but this was only a vacation. It didn't answer the question of what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
I love you more,
Damien declared now.
Staying here isn't worth it without you. I've missed you so much, Clarissa, and I don't want to spend another year without you. I'm sorry I put us through that last year. Forget all that stuff I said about changing into a werewolf, he continued. That was stupid. You don't need to do that. We can be together just like we are now, and we can live wherever you want.
You mean it? I asked, my voice heavy with emotion.
Yes,
he answered, and hugged me tightly.
I love you, Clarissa.
I love you, I replied. But don't transfer yet. I'm not sure if I want to stay at Bowling Green. I've been having second thoughts about it, but I still need to figure some stuff out. Can you wait a little longer?
I'll wait as long as you need me to,
he said. It won't be that much longer, I promised. 2 days before my departure from Alaska, Taylor called with startling news. Kristen's dead.